Mike Dunn, I'm sure many, many, many of you know Mike because he's been around for a ton of years serving Indiana. I was trying to be charitable there and generous, Mike. But our visit this morning, presented by Marcus and Mack, voted best law firm and best personal injury lawyer 3 years in a row, and the best of Indiana County contest. You can visit them online at marcusandmack.com. I'm not kidding when I say you've been around a while, a lot of years.
31 in July.
31 this past July.
This coming July will be 31 years.
This coming July will be 31 years with Citizens Ambulance.
Yes, sir.
Wow. So think back to young Mike, and when you decided that Citizens Ambulance was a place that you'd like to work.
You know, again, as I said, as a boy, what little boy didn't watch Emergency, all those neat shows back in the 70s, and it always sparked an interest of serving the community and seeing what they did on TV and how they took care of people, and I thought that was a really neat thing. And it didn't manifest itself till my high school years, and I was sitting in casual conversation with Gary Ryan Jr., one of my operational managers, and he was working here. He was working at Citizens Ambulance Service during his high school years, and we started talking about it. And he was telling me the ins and outs of what a paramedic is and what an EMT is, and I thought, that's something that I'd like to do. I'd like to be able to serve the community.
Yeah.
And that's really how it all got started. I have Gary Ryan Jr. to thank for that. He kind of sparked that interest.
And Gage and DeSoto too.
Yes, and Johnny. That's right. Roy and Johnny. That's
yeah.
sure.
And you're very familiar with the phrase 10 Far Rampart KMG 365 administer IV with D5W and Ringer's lactate.
Absolutely.
They said it over and over and over again.
Yes, they did.
That solved a lot of problems, didn't it?
They did.
A little Ringer's lactate would be just what did the trick for you. But being as you started at the age at which you did, you have done every job they have at Citizens Ambulance.
That's true. I did. I started as an EMT in 1994 and a paramedic in 96. And then they made me a field supervisor in 2000. And just most recently have been named as the director of operations.
All of those different roles equip you, don't they, to understand what all of the folks who work at Citizens are going through and what's happening in their lives and the stresses that come with it, because there are stresses.
Oh, absolutely, a lot of them. And and the one thing that I've never forgotten is you can't forget where you started. And all of us were once an EMT. I'm still an EMT. I'm still a paramedic, and you never forget where you started. And absolutely, the people that work for us at Citizens Ambulance Service, I can't say enough about them. They do it day in, day out. They do it tirelessly. They make my job easier. They really do. As their leader, as their boss, I couldn't be more proud of the people that work for us.
And you still get out there in an ambulance?
Every now and then, they let me go out in an ambulance.
And,
I still love to get out there and take care of people.
Well, not only did you become a paramedic after starting as an EMT, but you also became a member of the Special Medical Response Team. Tell me about that.
That was based out of Homer City at that time, and becoming a paramedic. At that time they were looking for paramedics, and the different specialties that the Special Medical Response Team can bring was really what drew me to it. It was something different that I could do outside of my everyday job at Citizens Ambulance Service, and really, being a member of that opened up a lot of different opportunities for me. Some real life-changing experiences. I responded to Hurricane Katrina.
Mm-hmm.
I was also responded to the miracle at Q Creek. With those guys, and so it's a pretty special thing that they have there. With the Special Medical Response.
It's an amazing breadth of experience that you have. But one of the things it points out is that in order to do those sorts of things, there's a ton of training that goes into it, and the training never stops, does it?
No, it doesn't. From day one until the day that you stop working, you need to train, and you continuously learn. Every day. Every day brings something different, and so you have to stay on top of your game because one, technology changes, and so there's so many different, facets of that you have to, be able to use those skill sets. And so, the learning and the training really never stops, and it shouldn't. That way you stay on top of your game.
Mike Dunn is our guest. He is our Indiana County First Responder of the Month, the Director of Operations at Citizens Ambulance Service. One of the things that has always fascinated me is the communication between the hospital and the ambulance in the field. Mm-hmm. It can be really, really easy to miscommunicate and to miss a word or a phrase that could make all the difference in the way that you handle a treatment of a patient.
Right.
You have to be really on top of your game right from the start, from the moment you get into that vehicle and head out to the scene.
Absolutely. You start thinking the moment you get that call, and you don't know what that call is, but the moment you get it, you automatically start thinking about your plan of action as to what you're going to, what this patient may be like, what they may be complaining about. And so you start thinking about that and, formulating a plan so that when you get there, what you're going to do, what treatment you're going to do, and then obviously passing the information on to the hospital once you're en route, letting them know, what you have done, what you have found, and, collaborating with physicians at the hospital to maybe formulate a different treatment plan or additional treatment from what we already do. So, communication is key because you have to make sure that you are providing that physician at the hospital exactly what you are seeing and what you are doing, because we are the eyes and the ears of the physician at the hospital. Mm-hmm. And so making sure that they understand, what we're dealing with helps them also formulate that plan with us as to what's the best form of treatment.
One of the things that many of our first responders have told us is that for them, it requires a special measure of empathy and compassion, because you realize that you're dealing with someone who is experiencing probably the worst day of their life, or could be.
Absolutely. And you won't meet a more group of passionate and dedicated people to community service. Not only us in emergency medical services, but the fire service, law enforcement. This community is so blessed with a network of people that they have. First responders. You won't meet a more passionate group of people. Yeah. It's amazing.
Mike Dunn is our guest this morning, Citizens Ambulance. Of course, we've had you in the studio before as we have talked about Citizens Ambulance and the precarious situation that any of our ambulance services find themselves in. We get news, it seems, every December. When we get to December, that's a particularly hazardous time because we're getting toward the end of the year, and medical providers are making decisions, and those decisions often have a negative impact on ambulance services in particular, and survival is not always guaranteed.
That's very true. It's right now, the situation with EMS, it's definitely crucial. It's a critical time. Ambulance services all over are struggling. And you see it in the news. Ambulance services are closing their doors. It takes community support. It truly does. It's getting a little thin around us here. And so, but we're here, and we're going to continue to do what we do every day to fulfill that mission, regardless of how many ambulances service there are. We're going to keep doing it.
Well, you having been in every position with Citizens Ambulance that we can think of now, as part of the management discussions that go on, and you have been for a number of years, you understand as well as anybody about the various pressures and stresses that are on the service as a whole, and on the people who are working there. So it's a very special thing that you do. Which makes me ask the question, why do you continue to do it? What are the ways that you find to alleviate those stresses?
My goal is I get up every day, I come to work, and I just want to make sure that when I get there, I'm able to provide the best service, for the community. And that is through managing the folks that we have there, the great folks that we have that are responders. And, we have a mission, and we can't waver from that mission. And so that's what drives me every day. I want to get up and I want to come in and do the very best I can to make sure that we're out there on the streets providing the best emergency services that we can.
One thing that you could say to people that would make a difference for Citizens Ambulance today, what would that be?
We need your support. There's no doubt we need your support. The community support makes it. It really does. That's the best thing I can say is we just need your support.
That's the thing. Paul Tatarko is going to come and join us next, and Paul has the plaque that he's going to present to you, Mike. And I know because we hear this all the time. Maybe, Paul, pull that microphone around there for you. We hear this all the time from folks that anytime we give an individual a plaque, they say this isn't mine. This is everybody I work with, not only at Citizens but in the entire emergency response community, isn't it?
That's exactly right. We were just talking about that out there in the hallway. I said that I'm very humbled by this, but really it's about all the first responders, all the folks that work for Citizens Ambulance Service, but also all the fire departments and all the law enforcement, emergency management agency. You name it, we're all part of that big family, that big network, and so really this is for everybody.
Paul.
Mr. Dunn, thank you so much for your service through the years. 30 plus, going on 31.
Appreciate it.
On behalf of Rosebud Mine and Rendon Media, thank you again for your service.
Thank you for the recognition. It's truly appreciated.
Absolutely. Mike Dunn, our Indiana County First Responder of the Month, courtesy Rosebud Mining. Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
For
Merry
all
Christmas
that you do.
to all of you, so.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. It's 24.